Good morning, friends. I hope this finds everybody happy, healthy, excited. It's Tuesday. We're looking at hump day tomorrow, which is the middle of the week. Man, it just goes too quick, doesn't it? So yesterday, we talked a little bit about knowing who you are, knowing that it's important to connect kind of in this broken adage, if you will, men with the men, women with the women. That is to say, knowing a little bit about who you are, kind of where you land on the spectrum, if you will, allows you to kind of direct a prospect or a newcomer towards somebody who is going to provide for them the best possible direction, stability. I want to be careful not to say advice because we don't advise, right? We share our experience, strength, and hope. So obviously, in a relationship, there would be, one might expect the dominant, protective, passionate personality, and maybe the more passive, submissive personality. Typically, most, relationships kind of go that way, intimate relationships specifically. And to that end, we want to pick up on these needs and kind of direct a prospect or a newcomer towards somebody who's going to be better suited to kind of provide for them. Obviously, to kind of regurgitate what I talked about yesterday, I, as a married husband and father of 4 children in a committed, monogamous relationship with my wife for some 28 years now, I have no real ability to connect with, a 20-year-old young girl just walking in the doors of Alcoholics Anonymous. The struggles she's going through specifically really wouldn't be anything I'm familiar with. I would need to direct her toward a more mature, established female person who is better prepared to provide for her the stability and the guidance and the care that she requires, if that makes any sense. So that's just kind of, where we landed yesterday, and I wanted to kind of touch on that because what I want to talk about today is what I'm thinking about when I go drinking. It's not even a way to say it, but it's a level of self-knowledge that I possess at 25 years clean and sober that somebody just walking in the doors doesn't necessarily possess, because they're not really prepared to admit it. They don't want to take ownership for that level of diabolical behavior. Let's say that. We are diabolical. We are self-serving. We are, in every way, self-involved. I want to be very careful not to apply some sort of, psychiatric or psychological diagnoses here, because I'm not obviously qualified to do that. But from my own experience, and it's significant, the mind of a practicing alcoholic addict is a dark place to be. I want that thing that I want, that thing that's going to get me to where I want to go. I want it, and I'll do what I need to do to get it. Full stop. I'll say that again. When I am full-blown practicing my addiction, I want that thing that I want, that thing that's going to get me where I want to go. I want that thing, and I will do whatever is required to get it. Full stop, done. More to that idea, I know what it's going to do for me. I know what I want it and expect it to do for me. I know how much of it I need to get to the desired result. I know how much of it I need to get to the desired place I want to be, to achieve the desired result. I know those things. I know them inside and out. It's what I live, breathe every day. So, again, my goal is to get that thing that I want to get. That's it. I'm going to tell a story today about what it was like when I first landed in St. Thomas. So, I had celebrated my first year of sobriety in Windsor. Jacob, our youngest baby, was newborn. I believe we had... Well, I celebrated my first year in January. Jacob was born in February. So he was very much, in every way, shape, and form, our sobriety baby. Still is to this day. Jacob is that wonderful gift that my higher power provided me, that looks at me in the eyes every day and reminds me he has never seen me drink. He's never seen me abuse a mind-altering or mood-changing substance. In his lifetime, those images have never crossed his eyes. That's a reminder to take with me to bed every night, and believe me, I do. So, I had celebrated my first year in sobriety, and this opportunity to move to St. Thomas to work for Freightliner popped up. I ran after it. I absolutely did. Once we landed in St. Thomas and we had some time under our belts and we had established ourselves in St. Thomas, I was able to find us a wonderful, beautiful home that we had prepared to buy. Eventually there was a layoff and we weren't able to purchase the home, but I digress. Once we were living in the home, it was just a beautiful, beautiful place to begin our adventure of raising the boys and working for Freightliner. We had made a number of friends at Freightliner. One of them in particular was a young couple. I won't reveal their names here, but they themselves had just started their own family, just purchased their first home, and the husband and myself were in the exact same group, starting on the exact same day. Our numbers were, I think, 3 numbers apart as far as employee numbers are concerned. We started on the same team, etc., etc., and it was wonderful to kind of have a couple of people that we could connect with. When we got our home on Maple Street in St. Thomas, obviously they wanted to come and check it out and spend some time with us and enjoy an afternoon with the kids. At the plant, at work, preparing for this day, we had decided we were going to do this on a weekend. Get together, have some supper, have dinner, maybe watch a movie, have a little fire, something like that. He had asked me, the husband had asked me at work, hey man, I know you're clean and sober and all that kind of stuff. I was pretty vocal about that, as I still am. Do you mind if I bring some beers? And I went, dude, straight up, going forward for the rest of our lives, as long as we're friends, always remember this. Be normal. Just please be normal. The most loving thing you can do for me as my bro, as my friend, is to just be yourself, right? If you would go over to your mom and dad's for beer, for your brothers, sisters, whatever, you have a beer there, but do the same thing with me. Just be yourself. It's not going to affect me. I'll say again that I was very blessed very early on to recognize that level of confidence in myself. I honestly, to this day, in the normal function of a day, I don't desire it. I don't think about it. I don't obsess about it. The obsession left. It did. And knock on wood, it hasn't returned. So, back to my story, I said, please, just be normal, be yourself. So, the day comes, they show up at our house, the kids are all excited to see them, and we're having a lot of fun, and we're settling in, and we're getting the food going, and the snacks are out, and stuff like that, and I said, hey man, why don't we pop out onto the back deck? It was a big, beautiful backyard with a gorgeous multi-tiered deck. It was a beautiful home, and off we go into the back deck. The husband says to me, hey man, did you want to grab me one of the, is it okay if we have one of them beers? Maybe the girls want one. I said, oh, absolutely, sure. And he had brought in some different beers. I had a couple of drinks in the fridge myself for my wife. So I said to the girls, I said, if you guys want something, I'm running into the backyard, into the house right now to grab something. Anybody want anything? Sure, everybody wants their drinks. I head into the house to grab something, and I realized he had just brought a 6-pack. That's all he brought was a 6-pack. And here's the alcoholic brain. You only brought 6? That's it? I hope that impacts you as much as I pray that it does. That's my brain. You only brought 6? That's it? That's all you brought? So I cracked a beer for him, and I cracked a beer for his wife, and I bring them out to them, and then I got a drink for Sarah, and I brought that out to her. I set the kids up with their little sippy cup things, and got myself my, tall glass of Pepsi, and boom. We're all sitting around, and I said to Dave, I said, here's the story that you need to understand. I look in the fridge, and the first thing I think about is, you only brought 6? And they all laughed. And I said, but that's the beauty of this question that you had asked me, the other day about coming over. You don't think like that. You don't think in your brain, I'm going to need this many to get me to this spot, and then I'm going to have this many, and if I want to share some, I'm going to have that many, and blah, blah, blah. That's my brain. My brain is always going to work that way. To this day, 25 years clean and sober, I think to myself, it's going to take me this many to get this place. That's how many it's going to take me to get to that place. If I want to keep that place going, I'm going to have this many more. If I'm going to be in a situation where I have to share that, I'm going to have to provide those over there so they can share, and I can have them have theirs, and I won't have them messing with mine. That's the alcoholic brain. And it's like that from the minute you hit ground one, as far as I'm concerned. That's how our brain thinks. That's how our brain operates. That's how our addictive mind calculates survival in our cups, in our addictions, if you will. Gosh, I hope that makes sense, because that's an idea that sits with me all the time, and I'm desperate to try and pass that one along in these situations where I'm given an opportunity to share. When I'm with a prospect or a newcomer, I go back to that lesson all the time. It's an important lesson that I feel I've been able to pick up on, that I need to pass along in these opportunities. That will always and forever be our brain. And I'm convinced of that to this day, because at 25 years clean and sober, I still think that way. I'm still very deeply connected with that part of my addiction, my alcoholism. I'm very deeply connected with it. I can still feel that obsession physically within me. And it's terrifying. It doesn't just apply to alcohol for me. It applies to so many other aspects of my life. You only brought 6? That's all you got? Like, the idea that I'm going to run out, the idea that doesn't even get the engine primed, brother. What are you thinking? I'm so grateful, and I'm so pleased, and I feel so deeply blessed that I recognize that for what it is. That's the difference. That's the dividing line between us and them. They don't think that way. And I say them referring to those people who are perfectly happy to have 2 drinks and never think about it again for 6 months. Let me jump back a little bit. I'm celebrating my 1-year anniversary at the Central Group of Alcoholics Anonymous in West Windsor, Ontario, Canada. I am quite literally floating on cloud 9 all the way home, as any of us would be. To those of you that are getting close to your 1 year or just recently celebrated a 1 year, you know where I'm at. This is an accomplishment that for us is singularly life-changing. To know that we can arrive to this place and hold that in our hand and look at it and connect with the 365-day accomplishment. It's incredible. I am a man apart, just on my own, soaring through the clouds of gratitude and disbelief that I've arrived at this place. The party lets out. We're shaking hands, hugging, kissing, crying, get ourselves home, get back to the kids, pay off the babysitter. And I say to my wife, I can't believe I haven't had a drink in like 1 year. She stops dead, Sarah does, on a dime. Looks at me right in the face and says, I haven't had a drink in almost 2 years. Whatever. I needed that so desperately in that moment, just for her to pop my bubble. Boom! Level me and bring me right back down to earth where I needed to be, to put me right in that chair on my ass where I needed to be. And that's the facts. She doesn't think about it. That's the us versus them. I'm still 25 years later looking in my fridge thinking, that's all they brought? Really? That's it? That's all they have? They only brought 6? Good grief. That's my brain to this day. 25 years clean and sober. She doesn't think about it. And she was 100% right. She had just given birth, or she was just about ready to give birth to Jack. This was my 1 year anniversary. She doesn't have Jack for another month yet. She hadn't had a drink that whole time she was pregnant. Previous to that, we were dealing with the multiple sclerosis diagnosis and trying to figure that whole idea out. So there was no alcohol in her life or in her system at that point in time. She hadn't had a drink in almost 2 years at that point, and never even crossed her mind to obsess about it, let alone to do all the things that I would typically do to make sure I was in a position to drink, attend a party. How much money do I have in the bank? Do I have to hustle something to make some money? Constantly on the go, thinking about how do I get that thing that I want that's going to get me where I need to go. That's my brain to this day. They don't think that way. They don't even consider those ideas in their mind. For them, alcohol is just another thing. It's just the most insignificant part of a day, if it happens to be there at all. For us, it's life and death. It's what we breathe. So, I'm going to watch this one back. Hope to goodness gracious that it makes some sense. It's one that I can't beat up too much. It's an idea that I needed to get out of me and I needed to share with you guys. And it's one that I might come back to. I feel like it's an idea that I could probably articulate even better. But it's certainly one that I wanted to put out into the ether before the idea just fluffed off for another however many months. So, I love you, and I care for you guys, and I'm cheering you on every single day. I'm here trying to get this out, so maybe it'll benefit you guys, and if it does, I'm over the moon grateful. It works, friends. It works. If we work it one day at a time. Take care, man. Have a great day. And keep pushing, man. Keep pushing. Love you guys. Bye.